In the bustling studio of Loose Women, the atmosphere was electric as Piers Morgan took his seat among the panelists, his sharp wit and unfiltered opinions ready to stir the pot. Denise Welch, known for her passionate advocacy on mental health and personal freedoms, sat across from him, her eyes already narrowing in anticipation of the clash that was about to unfold. The topic of the day was the ongoing royal family drama, specifically the latest revelations about Meghan Markle and Prince Harry, a subject that had previously ignited fireworks between these two media personalities. Piers, ever the provocateur, launched into his monologue, declaring that Meghan was nothing more than a manipulative opportunist who had torn the royal family apart for her own gain, his voice booming with conviction as he cited tabloid headlines and insider gossip as if they were gospel truth. The audience murmured in a mix of agreement and dissent, but Denise couldn't hold back any longer. She interrupted him mid-sentence, her tone laced with frustration, pointing out how Piers's relentless attacks were not only unfair but also harmful to mental health discussions, reminding everyone of Meghan's own admissions about suicidal thoughts during her time in the palace. Piers shot back, accusing Denise of being too soft and celebrity-obsessed, suggesting that her defense stemmed from personal biases rather than facts. The exchange escalated quickly, with Denise raising her voice to match his, calling him a bully who hid behind his platform to spew vitriol without consequence. The other panelists, including Kay Adams and Nadia Sawalha, tried to mediate, but the tension was palpable, the camera zooming in on their heated faces as words flew like daggers. Piers, refusing to yield, doubled down on his stance, mocking Denise's past struggles with addiction and depression as if they disqualified her from having an opinion, which only fueled her fire further. She stood up abruptly, her chair scraping against the floor, demanding that he show some respect or leave the set himself. The host attempted to call for a commercial break, but the confrontation had already spiraled out of control, with Piers retorting that he wouldn't be silenced by emotional outbursts. Security personnel hovered at the edges of the stage, ready to intervene if things turned physical, while the live audience gasped in shock at the raw intensity of the moment. Denise, tears of anger welling in her eyes, accused Piers of being a misogynist who thrived on tearing down strong women, referencing his past feuds with other female celebrities. Piers laughed it off, claiming it was just honest journalism, but the panel erupted in chaos, voices overlapping in a cacophony of arguments. Finally, the producer's voice crackled through the earpieces, instructing the team to escort Piers off the set to prevent further escalation, as the show's reputation hung in the balance. As he was led away, Piers shouted over his shoulder that this was censorship at its worst, while Denise slumped back into her seat, the adrenaline still pumping through her veins. The screen faded to black for an unplanned break, leaving viewers at home stunned and buzzing on social media about the explosive encounter that would dominate headlines for days. This wasn't just a debate, it was a full-blown war of words that exposed the raw underbelly of daytime television, where personal vendettas clashed with public personas in a spectacle that no one could look away from. The aftermath saw both parties taking to Twitter to defend their positions, with Piers labeling Denise as unprofessional and Denise calling him out for his lack of empathy. Fans divided into camps, some praising Denise for standing her ground, others siding with Piers for his no-holds-barred approach. The incident sparked debates about the limits of free speech on TV and the responsibility of hosts to maintain civility, turning a routine panel discussion into a cultural flashpoint that resonated far beyond the studio walls. As the cameras rolled back in after the chaotic interruption, the Loose Women set felt like a pressure cooker ready to explode again, with Denise Welch still visibly shaken but determined to have her say. Piers Morgan, having been removed from the premises, was no longer there to retort, but his absence only amplified the echoes of their fiery exchange. The host, Kay Adams, addressed the audience directly, apologizing for the disruption while emphasizing the show's commitment to passionate debates, though this one had clearly crossed into uncharted territory. Denise, taking a deep breath, shared her side of the story, explaining how Piers's comments had hit too close to home, reminding her of her own battles with mental health that she had openly discussed in her memoir. She spoke eloquently about the dangers of public figures like Piers using their platforms to belittle personal struggles, arguing that it perpetuated stigma and discouraged others from seeking help. The panel nodded in agreement, with Nadia adding her own anecdotes about the pressures of fame and the need for compassion in media. Viewers at home flooded the show's social media with messages of support for Denise, many sharing their own stories of overcoming adversity, turning the incident into a broader conversation about empathy in journalism. Meanwhile, outside the studio, Piers was already live-tweeting his version of events, claiming he was the victim of a witch hunt by overly sensitive panelists who couldn't handle tough questions. His followers rallied around him, accusing loose women of bias and censorship, while critics pointed out his history of storming off sets himself, like his infamous Good Morning Britain exit over the same royal topic. The media frenzy escalated as clips of the confrontation went viral, racking up millions of views on YouTube and TikTok, with commentators dissecting every word and gesture. Denise, undeterred, used the platform to advocate for mental health charities, urging people to donate and seek support if needed. The show's producers faced backlash for allowing the situation to escalate, with some calling for better moderation in future episodes. As the program continued without Piers, the discussion shifted to lighter topics, but the shadow of the clash lingered, making every subsequent segment feel tame in comparison. In interviews later that day, Denise reflected on the moment, saying she had no regrets about standing up to what she saw as bullying behavior, while Piers appeared on his own show to rant about the injustice of being kicked off. The event highlighted the generational and ideological divides in British media, with Piers representing the old-school tabloid aggression and Denise embodying a more progressive, empathetic approach. Social media algorithms amplified the drama, pushing related content to users worldwide, from memes mocking Piers' exit to serious think pieces on toxic masculinity in TV. The Loose Women team issued a statement praising their commitment to diverse opinions but acknowledging that lines were crossed, promising to review protocols for guest appearances. Fans speculated about future encounters, wondering if Piers would ever return or if this marked the end of an era for crossover appearances. The incident also boosted ratings for the show, proving that controversy sells, even if it comes at the cost of on-set harmony. Denise's courage in the face of confrontation inspired many, particularly women in media, to speak out against dismissive attitudes. As the day wore on, the story evolved from a simple TV spat to a symbol of larger societal issues, reminding everyone that behind the glamour of television lies real human emotions and vulnerabilities. The ripple effects of Piers Morgan's dramatic exit from Loose Women spread like wildfire across the entertainment landscape, with tabloids splashing headlines about the explosive showdown and pundits weighing in on who was right or wrong. Denise Welch, emerging as the unlikely hero of the hour, received an outpouring of support from celebrities like Sharon Osbourne and even some royal sympathizers who appreciated her defense of mental health awareness. Piers, never one to stay silent, hosted a special episode on his uncensored show, inviting guests to debate the merits of his arguments and lambasting Loose Women as an echo chamber for woke ideologies. Clips from the confrontation were analyzed frame by frame on news programs, with body language experts noting Piers' aggressive posture and Denise's defiant stance as key indicators of the deep-seated animosity. Social media platforms buzzed with hashtags like #StandWithDenise and #PiersWasRight, dividing users into polarized camps and generating endless threads of arguments. The show's producers, caught off guard by the intensity, reviewed footage to ensure no further incidents, while considering inviting Piers back for a redemption arc to capitalize on the publicity. Denise, in a candid Instagram post, shared how the clash had affected her emotionally, admitting to feeling empowered yet exhausted by the ordeal. Fans organized online petitions calling for Piers to apologize, while his supporters countered with demands for Denise to retract her accusations. The media circus extended to international outlets, with American talk shows like The View drawing parallels to their own heated debates. Experts on media ethics discussed the fine line between entertainment and harm, questioning whether such confrontations served the public or just boosted ratings. Denise's husband, Lincoln Townley, publicly stood by her, praising her strength in interviews, adding a personal layer to the narrative. Piers, meanwhile, turned the event into merchandise fodder, joking about kicked-off t-shirts on his social channels. The Loose Women panel reconvened the next day without mentioning the incident directly, but the undercurrent of tension was evident in their interactions. Viewers tuned in record numbers, hoping for more drama, but the show opted for safer topics like holiday recipes and celebrity gossip. Behind the scenes, emails flew between agents and producers, negotiating potential follow-ups or reconciliations. The clash reignited old feuds, with past Loose Women guests sharing their own Piers stories, painting a picture of a pattern of provocative behavior. Mental health organizations seized the moment to promote resources, thanking Denise for bringing attention to the cause. Piers's book sales spiked as curious readers sought his unfiltered takes on various controversies. The event became a case study in journalism schools, illustrating the power dynamics of live TV. Denise appeared on podcasts to elaborate, emphasizing the need for respectful discourse. As weeks passed, the initial shock faded, but the video clips remained evergreen content, resurfacing in compilations of TV's most awkward moments. The confrontation ultimately humanized both figures, showing vulnerabilities beneath their public facades. Networks eyed similar formats, hoping to replicate the viral success without the fallout. In the end, it was a reminder that in the world of daytime TV, authenticity often comes with a side of chaos, leaving audiences craving more. Months after the infamous Loose Women incident, the dust began to settle, but the scars of the confrontation between Piers Morgan and Denise Welch lingered in the collective memory of viewers and media insiders alike. Denise channeled the experience into advocacy work, partnering with charities to host panels on mental health in the media, using her platform to educate rather than entertain. Piers, undaunted, continued his crusade against what he called cancel culture, frequently referencing the event as proof of intolerance for differing views. Retrospective articles delved into their histories, tracing back to earlier Twitter spats over politics and celebrity culture that foreshadowed the on-air explosion. Fans created fan edits of the clash, syncing dramatic music to the heated exchanges, turning it into meme gold across platforms. The Loose Women ratings stabilized at higher levels, with producers attributing the boost to the notoriety gained from the episode. Denise's book on her life experiences saw renewed interest, with chapters on resilience resonating with those inspired by her stand. Piers mocked the fallout in stand-up style segments on his show, exaggerating the drama for laughs while maintaining his innocence. Legal teams on both sides monitored statements to avoid defamation suits. Though no actions were filed, the incident sparked a wave of similar on-air arguments on other shows, as hosts pushed boundaries for engagement. Denise received awards for her contributions to mental health awareness, crediting the clash as a turning point. Piers's audience grew, attracting those who appreciated his combative style. Behind closed doors, apologies were whispered through mutual acquaintances, but publicly, the feud simmered. Documentaries explored the psychology of TV confrontations, featuring experts analyzing the Loose Women tape. Social media algorithms kept the content alive, recommending related videos years later. The event influenced casting decisions, with shows vetting guests more carefully for potential volatility. Denise's family rallied around her, sharing heartwarming stories of support. Piers ventured into new projects, including a podcast where he dissected media bias. The clash became folklore in UK TV circles, retold at industry parties with embellishments. Viewers debated if it was scripted for ratings, though insiders denied it. Mental health hotlines reported increased calls post-broadcast, a silver lining amid the turmoil. Piers and Denise avoided joint appearances, but fate had other plans and awards shows where awkward encounters loomed. The story evolved into a cautionary tale about the perils of unbridled passion on live TV. As time healed wounds, both reflected in interviews on personal growth from the experience. The Loose Women set underwent subtle changes, with added mediation training for hosts. Fan fiction emerged, imagining alternate endings to the confrontation. The viral nature ensured its place in pop culture history, a testament to the enduring appeal of real drama. Reflecting on the long-term impact of Piers Morgan's ejection from Loose Women following his spat with Denise Welch, it's clear that the event reshaped perceptions of daytime television's role in societal discourse. Denise emerged stronger, launching a speaking tour where she recounted the incident as a pivotal moment in fighting stigma. Piers capitalized on the controversy, authoring opinion pieces that defended his right to provoke thought, even if it ruffled feathers. Archival footage was licensed for compilations, keeping the memory fresh. The panel's dynamics shifted, with more emphasis on balanced debates to prevent repeats. Denise's social following surged, with influencers collaborating on content about empowerment. Piers's show ratings competed with prime time, drawing viewers eager for his takes. Psychological analyses in magazines broke down the verbal sparring, highlighting power plays. The incident inspired scripts for TV dramas, fictionalizing similar clashes. Denise mentored young journalists on handling aggression, while Piers tutored on bold reporting. Reunions were teased but never materialized, maintaining intrigue. The clash's anniversary prompted specials, with commentators revisiting the drama. Mental health initiatives gained funding, linked to the publicity. Piers's memoir included a chapter on the event, framing it as a badge of honor. Loose Women's format evolved, incorporating viewer feedback on controversy levels. Fan art depicted the duo in superhero poses, symbolizing their stances. The story transcended borders, discussed in global media forums. Denise's philanthropy expanded, aiding causes close to her heart. Piers debated ethicists on air, defending his methods. The legacy endured, influencing how hosts navigate heated topics today. In the annals of television history, the Piers Morgan and Denise Welch confrontation on Loose Women stands as a landmark of unscripted intensity, forever altering the landscape of panel discussions. Denise's resilience shone through in subsequent appearances, where she advocated for kindness and critique. Piers, ever resilient, turned criticism into fuel for his empire, expanding into international markets. Clips resurfaced in educational contexts, teaching about media literacy. The show's protocol handbook was updated, mandating de-escalation techniques. Denise's autobiography sequel detailed the emotional toll, resonating with readers. Piers's fanbase organized events celebrating free speech. Analysts predicted similar incidents would become rarer due to heightened awareness. The duo's paths crossed indirectly through shared causes, hinting at possible reconciliation. Viral challenges mimicked the debate style, for better or worse. Mental health awareness peaked, with campaigns crediting the exposure. Piers explored comedy specials roasting the event. Loose Women celebrated milestones with nods to the drama. Fan theories abounded about behind-the-scenes machinations. The incident's cultural footprint grew, inspiring art and literature. Denise's legacy as a warrior for vulnerability solidified. Piers remained a polarizing figure, thriving on debate. Ultimately, the clash proved that conflict, when authentic, captivates and educates, leaving an indelible mark on viewers' minds.